We did it. We turned a profit in week 3. Our spread bets went 5-3 for a 62.5%, and the Moneyline Parlay Bets went 1-1 for 50%. When you put these two together, we went 6-4 for a 60% win rate and a profitable week 3. Let's keep it going. Now, our overall record for the spread bets is 13-17, but we're getting better, and the Moneyline Parlay Bets are 4-1 or 80% hit rate, which is truly amazing. For week 4, we have 2 trends and 4 spread bets and 2 Moneyline Parlay Bets as well. Let's get to it. The first trend I really like. Home teams before their bye weeks cover the spread at a rate of 60%. That's 87 in the last 145 games, and this dates back to 2015. Last year in 2024, this went 11-7 for a 61% hit rate. Now, something that's unique about this trend, this is a season-long trend. You have to play this throughout the entire season. This is not one that's just good for one particular week. And what I thought I'd do here is just give you an entire slate of games that are home teams before their bye week, and here they are. In week 4, we have the Falcons and the Steelers, and so on. You can see all the teams here. But you got to be careful about this because some of these teams are actually playing in international locations, which means they're not at home. And you might have already caught that. In particular, in week 4, the Steelers are in Dublin. So even though they're designated as a home team, they're actually in Ireland, not in Pittsburgh, PA. The Jaguars in week 7, the Colts in week 10, and the Dolphins in week 11 are also international games. So we have to take those away. So what that leaves us with is 12 games where we have home teams pre-bye in their home stadiums for 2025. So you can see in week 4, we have the Falcons at home. So this week we have the Commanders at the Falcons. The Falcons plus 1.5. That's the best bet. We get minus 110 juice. And that's the only game that satisfies this trend for week 4. But again, we have to play this throughout the entire season. And I'll keep track of the record throughout the season. Trend number 2. In weeks 2 through 4, underdogs coming off a 20-plus point loss cover the spread rate of 68.4%. That's 39 out of the last 57 games since 2015. Now I have to say something here. Originally, this was a trend where I didn't worry about the weeks. I just did this for the entire season, just like the last trend. However, after looking at data more closely, I found that this trend was very strong in weeks 2 through 4. And 68.4% is huge. We have the Falcons plus 1.5 at home against the Commanders. But since that was already in previous trend, I'm only going to bet this once. You have the Saints plus 16.5 at the Bills. Now, this is not easy. Think about this for a second. All 4 of these teams got blown out in week 3. So why in the heck would we count on them to cover the spread in week 4? Well, again, the data shows us this is a really good bet. So if we place these bets in weeks 2 through 4 on this particular trend, we're winning 68.4% of our bets. Now you might say, well, I'm not going to go with the Saints here. And I understand that. But when we start to dissect this a little bit more and we start to pick teams out, then we might lose out on that 68%. So this becomes a question of, do we play the teams or do we play the numbers? Well, if you're a longtime viewer or subscriber of my channel, you know already, I always play the numbers. So I'm going to make that bet on the Saints. We have the Titans plus 7.5 on the road against the Texans and the Bengals plus 7.5 on the road against the Broncos. I get it. These are big underdogs. They just got blown out. It's very stinky, but I'm always going to go with the data and the percentages when I place my bets. Let's get to the Moneyline Parlay Bets. The first one, home teams favored by 6.5 to 7 points, winning rate of 77.2%. That's 142 out of the last 184 games since 2015. This does include data for 2025. And here are the 2 teams that satisfy this trend. We have the Texans at home against the Titans, minus 350 on the money line. The Broncos at home against the Bengals. Now, I realize one more time, I'm going to bet the Titans and the Bengals to cover the spread, but the Texans and the Broncos will actually win the game. These are not contradictory bets here. Now, the only thing I'm worried about here is these money line numbers are pretty high. I like them to be closer to negative 300. Putting these together, we get minus 154 parlay odds, but my trend odds are only minus 147. So there's actually no value in placing this bet. This is a negative EV bet, which means if you place this bet over a long term, you might actually lose money. But I still like the odds of this actually happening. It's about 59%. Again, just like I did last week, if these numbers change and go down a little bit, I'll post in the comments below when I decide to take this bet. So this Moneyline Parlay Bet is the Texans to win and the Broncos to win. Put them together in the Moneyline Parlay Bet. The second Moneyline Parlay Bet has to do with road teams. Road teams favored by 5.5 to 6 points, winning rate of 76.2%, or 64 of the last 84 games, again going back to 2015. And in week 4, we have the following. We have the Chargers at the Giants and the Packers at the Cowboys. We're getting minus 280 on the money line for the Chargers and minus 330 on the money line for the Packers. Putting these together, we get minus 130 parlay odds, but the trend odds are minus 138. So this one definitely has an edge. And this is a positive EV bet. And I'm going to place this bet right away. So we have the Chargers to win and the Packers to win. Put them together in a Moneyline Parlay Bet. Hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck in your week 4 best bets. Let's go.